So if the economy is bad and he promised a good economy, you're going to suffer at the polls.
We are back with The Big Deal. This week, we're kicking off a new series focused on the evolving landscape of voter demographics in our nation. And we're starting off with one of the most pivotal voting blocs in the 2024 presidential race. That's the Latino electorate. Last year, we saw a dramatic swing of Latino voters toward Donald Trump, who won 42% of their vote. That is up significantly from 2016 and 2020. In some states, the president made significant inroads by double digits, as seen in Pennsylvania and Texas and Florida. Today, we're going to analyze how President Trump was able to win their support and whether those Latino voters approve of his administration's actions so far. To start us off, we have Spectrum News reporter Vanya Patino, who spoke with some voters. Watch this report.
The prices for everything, food, gas.
The cost of living continues to be Philip Cortes's main concern as President Donald Trump passes 100 days into office. As a third-generation Latino, Philip's focus on the economy reflects what several national polls show, that this group votes with their wallet in mind.
Because I'm retired and I got 401ks, so like 2 or 3 days before the tariff thing hit, I switched all my stuff over.
Latino voters had not changed their standing on the president for the first couple of months of the administration. That is, until the tariffs kicked in, says Mike Madrid, political strategist focused on Latino voters.
And Latinos are the fastest growing group of economic voters. So if the economy is bad and he promised a good economy, you're going to suffer at the polls.
CNN, Pew Research Center, and Reuters polls all showed a significant drop in approval rating for President Donald Trump, ranging from 24 to 34%.
So virtually all of the gains, at least at this point in time, for Republicans amongst Hispanic voters has vanished.
But not all in this group are changing course. Emilio Orona, who is also a third-generation Latino, says he likes the actions the president has taken, especially around tariffs. He says he has noticed grocery prices are up, but argues that has been happening since before President Trump went into office.
People expect things to turn overnight. When Biden was doing this, nobody complained. Now that he's doing it, everybody's complaining.
In a national poll released by the nonpartisan group Unidos US, respondents ranked cost of living and inflation as their most important concern, followed by jobs in the economy, housing cost, and affordability and health care. Mike says the real lesson from these polls is for both parties to understand not reaching this part of the electorate can cost them an election.
Joining me now with more on the Latino vote is Philip Klint, an anchor for Spectrum Noticias, our national Spanish language news network, our sister network. Congratulations on the launch. We'll have a little more to say about that in a minute. I wanted to ask you about this new poll. It finds that 6 out of 10 Latino voters believe the country is heading in the wrong direction under President Trump. Is this buyer's remorse, do you think?
It sure seems that way, according to the poll. I mean, we're talking about, the numbers certainly don't favor Donald Trump and the Republican Party as we look towards the midterm elections next year. Almost 2/3 of voters, Latino voters, saying that they're not happy with the direction the country's taken, and a majority blame Trump, Donald Trump. So we have these tariffs that are upending the global economy. We have small businesses that are laying off workers and saying that we're going to shut our doors. Remember, a lot of Latinos are owners of small businesses, right? We have prices that still are pretty high, and that was one of the promises that Donald Trump said, I'll bring down the prices of eggs when I go into the White House. We have economists talking about the U.S. heading towards a recession. So all these factors are reflected in these numbers and this worry that things are not going well right now, then it might not be going well next year. They're saying you have failed us, you have broken your promises on the economy, especially with these trade wars.
Well,
right?
When the focus last year that I think got him over the top and really made some inroads was he focused among what they call low propensity voters who don't usually turn out, especially young men, and that includes young Latino men in particular, and it worked. What was drawing them to the Republican Party?
Well, I think there's two factors here. One is, a lot of these Latino voters were not old enough to vote, 8 years ago. So they don't remember those 4 years. Also, towards the end of the Biden administration, they're going I don't have a job, prices are still high, the future doesn't look that great. So I think that plays a factor in it. And also, if we look at at the demographics in the country, we see, as you know, a lot of college-educated voters that are voting for the Democratic candidate, and a lot of blue-collar workers voting for the Republican candidate. And let's remember that a majority of Latinos make up the blue-collar workforce. So I think that's an issue. And also, let's talk about the Democratic Party. I mean, there's warning signs in this poll for Democrats as well, not only Republicans. And they're saying, a lot of these Latino voters are saying, listen, the Democratic Party is not reaching out to us. They're taking our vote for granted. And that's, I think, reflected in some of those changes. We'll see now whether those are long-term trends. And I think the midterm elections will give us a better sense. I mean, Latinos don't usually go vote en masse during midterm elections, but I think we'll see if they're galvanized because of these issues, and that will reverse that trend.
Right. We see that Latino voters are famously what they call ticket splitters. You know, they'll vote for Trump, but then also vote for a Democrat at the local level. But in our last minute, I wanted to ask you about immigration. I mean, it's always been an important issue.
Right.
We who are outside the community always assume that it would have it would play a certain way, but of course it gets very complicated, right? Especially when people live in mixed status family, where there's someone who's an American citizen and there are relatives who are not.
Yeah, and if you see this poll, we're looking at immigration as the fifth issue, right, behind other issues like the economy. But I think there are worrying signs here for Trump because immigration was a central part of his campaign. And we're seeing 60% of Latinos saying, we don't agree with this policy of deporting people that don't have criminal background checks or background, don't have a criminal record, or not giving due process to some of these people that are deported. And an issue that stands out to me is 66% of Latinos saying we need to give immigrants, soñadores, dreamers, a path to citizenship. That's not something we haven't been talking about recently, but that's obviously an issue that's very important to the Latino voter.
Okay, we'll be watching to see how all of that plays out. Thank you so much for coming by, Philip Klint. Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage, and click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.